So in this episode, I sat down with Paul Mort, one of the biggest mindset coaches in the UK. Now, Paul, what can I say about Paul? Paul is one of the funniest humans you'll ever meet. You're either going to love him or he's going to trigger the fuck out of you. But one thing you're going to get with Paul is you're going to get honesty and you're going to get movement in your life. And I think you're going to get a lot from this episode. Not only that, Paul has built multi-million-pound businesses off the back of sending emails. And when he tells you how simple it is for you to go and do it yourself, it will blow your mind. Enjoy this episode. You're going to get so much out of it, and just switch it on and enjoy.
So that together, clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
Welcome back to the Frankie Lee podcast. Today we have an absolute legend from the UK himself, Master Coach of the Year, all-round top legend. And honestly, mate, do you know what? I could go on for another hour about you, but Mr. Paul Mort, Mr. Paul Mort, welcome to the show, mate. Honestly, man, there's nothing that this man doesn't do. He generates millions of pounds from email. Before he even had a social media presence, he's coached master coaches. He coached James Smith, Darren Cartel on loads of stuff as well. He works with men, women, and everything else in between. Mate, I think the best place to start with you is the fact that the thing that resonates. Well, I've actually been a student of yours in the past on Email Domination Academy. Do you remember when that was going, man? I did that a little while back, but mate, I think the best place to start with you. What resonated with me at the time was your story and journey from coming back from such a pivotal moment of your life where you were going to take your own life and throw yourself off the edge of a cliff. Now, that's not a laughing matter, but I just want to start there because I think that's a good best place to start with your journey, mate, because that's when it all flipped for you.
Yeah, mate, it did. I mean, that point there was probably one of the most important moments of my life, because it's the moment that allowed me to live my life without any of the shit that I'd had, any of the labels that I'd had placed on me, without being inauthentic, without having to lie anymore, without having to mask anything about myself. It allowed me to essentially do what I do now. So I get asked a lot, like, do you regret anything? I'm like, I've done a lot of fucked up shit, as I'm sure we all have. In fact, I'm surprised that me and you, in your other capacity, haven't worked together in the past.
Yeah.
You're removing content. You're removing content thing. I'm surprised we haven't worked together before. But the thing is, and you asked me about it before we start, I always get asked that, is there anything that we can't cover? I'm like, I've got fuck all to hide. There's nothing about me that anyone could say that I haven't already said.
Yeah, or you haven't probably said to yourself.
As fuck. So for me, that was one of the moments that changed my life. And one thing I will say is that I didn't end up there by accident. It was no coincidence that for years before that I'd sacrificed my physical health. I was drinking and sniffing every weekend, lots of drinking and sniffing. I was neglecting myself. I was neglecting my wife. I wasn't around for my kids. I was constantly caught up in bullshit, trying to make more money. I was constantly caught up in arguments on the internet. I had no real purpose. So it was, I didn't end up there by accident. And you talked about my book before. I got asked a while ago from when I made my book. I was working with a producer from Panorama and a director from ITV Newsnight. And they said to me, we sat down, we had a coffee when we finished the book. And they're like, Paul, do you think you'd ever end up back on the cliff? And I was like, no doubt about it. If I stop doing what I've done to turn my life around, that I still do, if I started doing what got me there in the first place, of course I'll end up fucking suicidal again. It's like a fat guy who loses loads of weight, eating well and training, and suddenly stops doing that. You know what I mean? He's got to get fat again. So that 100% would happen. I've got make no bones about it. I didn't end up in that state by fucking coincidence, by fucking accident.
But it happens. It happens at 1% daily. I mean, obviously, like you compound whichever way you go in, don't you? You don't just get there. You don't just arrive at the side of a cliff one day, do you? You get there by doing cocaine every day and by doing drinking every day and by putting yourself in these positions.
There may be some like traumatic incidents from the past that may contribute to it, but I think for most people, excuse me, it is an accumulation of behaviors and habits, whether that's habitual thinking, habitual actions, habitual intake, habitual consumption. Most people who end up there are because of that.
Because let's put it in context for people as well, because at that time when you were stood on the edge of that cliff, as far as I'm aware from being involved with you like 4 years ago on Email Domination Academy and all that kind of stuff we were going through then, at that moment in time you was earning some phenomenal money. I think you
I earned my first million.
Yeah,
I earned my first million in 2014.
Yeah.
And again, listen, I don't want to tie this up in that and say that money isn't important and money doesn't make you happy, because it helps. But 100%. The reality is the way that I was making money wasn't helping, and the way that I was spending it wasn't helping. I didn't know what to do with it. Because no one in my family is an entrepreneur. No one. No one's ever made serious money in my family. They certainly haven't made £1 million. My dad worked in the same factory for 30 years. My mum worked in Asda for 10 years. And before that, she worked in the cafe at the town hall. Like, they worked their asses off. That's where I got my work ethic from. Yeah. But no one was ever financially successful or financially independent in my family. So I didn't know. I kind of didn't know. I did the best I could with what I knew. So yeah, I made a lot of money. A few months before I was suicidal, I was living in Marbella. I lived in Marbella for 2 years. 4-bedroom villa with a private pool, hot wife, 2 beautiful kids. I had everything. But at the same time, I had nothing because I had no purpose.
So how did you come to, obviously when you're on the side of that cliff, yeah, and you're looking down, you're thinking this is it and everything like that, and obviously you get pulled back from that situation. How did you go on that journey then to find what this purpose was for you to give you that?
I got my arse handed to me.
Yeah.
I got my arse handed to me. So 2 things happened. The first one was, and everyone always asks this, so I like to cover it, is that I get criticized. So I've got a video that has 6 million views. Another one that's 4. It's the same one. One of them I'm just allowed to say fucking. The other one got banned. Yeah. The other one got banned by Facebook for a bit because I said fuck. So we have one that's been bleeped out and one that hasn't.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask me, like, why was your wife there? Did you take her with you? I'm like, no. I was so volatile and so turbulent and so unpredictable that every time I left the house, particularly if I slammed the door, my wife would just follow me because I was all over the place. I would disappear for days on end. I would tell her that I was going to kill myself, which, by the way, never normally happens. It's normally that was a cry for help for me. That was a cry for attention. I needed love and I didn't know how to ask for it.
Yeah.
So she followed me to the cliff this day. She'd actually been following me for ages, driving up and down the coast road. And she followed me and she said to me, she actually said, and this is mad, whenever I have this conversation with my wife and she got asked about it, she's like, she was almost at the point where she was ready to let me do it because she could see how much pain I was in. And wow. She loves me. So she was like, she got to the point where I would threaten to do it so often, she could see how much I was hurting, that she almost got to that point. But she said to me, just think about the kids then. And I was like, and this is the thing when you're that low, there's no fucking logic at all. It's like, I am thinking of the kids. They'd be better off without me. That's how I thought. And then she said to me, well, think of the kids then as those kids growing up, spending the rest of their lives as those kids whose dad killed himself. And I wasn't willing to do that. So that was my first wake-up call. And then I had a series of wake-up calls from a lady called Donna. Donna was on basically the suicide watch team. And she kind of handed me my arse without ever really having to say anything. She used to look at me over the top of her glasses like disappointed when she'd come and see me. I used to have to see someone every single week. In fact, it got to the point where I'd seen so many shrinks, psychologists, psychotherapists that I just gave up. That's where I was at. I'd gave up on getting better. And she used to come and see me. And when she'd come and see me and I'd been on the fucking sniff all weekend, she could tell. So a series of conversations with her and just a series of that look over the top of her glasses, I was like, yeah. And then one day, I was tagged in a video by a guy called Garrett J. White.
Yeah.
And Garrett was kind of what I needed to hear at the time. He was talking about, I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I've been diagnosed with fucking all sorts, none of which I believe were true. However,
all labels.
It helped me at the time. And he was talking about stuff that I'd never heard spoken about in a way that I'd never heard it spoken.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard it communicated this way. And that was a real wake-up call for him. I'm like, fuck, it's not just me. And then I went out there and got punched in the face and got called and got kind of confronted for the first time ever. Because all through that period, I was being fucking mollycoddled. being given shit and just talk. And I was like, this fucking it's not changing anything, that. Then eventually it was kind of like just a fucking series of wake-up calls. And I wouldn't say the word man up, but it was like, mate, you've got to take some fucking responsibility. You didn't end up there by accident.
Yeah.
You've got to take some responsibility for your actions, for your behaviors, for your thought patterns, for your processes. And you've got to do better. Now you know better. At the time, I didn't really know better.
It all starts with ownership at the end of the day, doesn't it?
It does. And it's a difficult thing to talk about. A lot of people get triggered by it. But the people that are ready to hear it, it empowers them. Some people allow that to disempower them. And people use the term man up, which I fucking don't like, because it's not, you're telling me to man up, but most men are fucked. Why not man up? Most men are just like I was, fat, struggling, stressed, and fucking on the sniffing booth. That's most men. That might be a big generalization, but it's most men that I know.
Yeah.
So why would I want to man up then? What they mean, and it's well-wishing normally, I think.
Yeah.
Well-meaning is that just take charge. And I don't like...
Just own yourself.
I like the term taking responsibility. But also, some people will choose to get disempowered by that because they think, oh, well, it's my fault and I'm the blame. And it's not about fault and blame. It's about taking charge, taking back charge, taking charge of the way that you feel, taking charge of the way that you react to things, taking charge of the way that you behave, taking charge of your past, taking charge of your future, taking charge of right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what most people need to hear, but a lot of people aren't.
They're not ready to hear it because there's a lot of people out there that are pushing blame onto other people for stuff that's happening in their life, and the buck always stops with you. Always stops with you.
It's mad in the minute what's going down. I've had loads of people argue with me this morning when I'm talking about imposter syndrome. Everyone wants to argue with me about it. Not everyone. The people that like to use it as a label. Some people like to use it as a label because it makes them feel better, and I'm okay with that. I just don't identify with it. I'm like, I don't want that label. I can't see in any way, shape, or form how diagnosing yourself with imposter syndrome, I can't see in any way, shape, or form how that will make things better for you. But if it does, I'm all for it. But I can't see how it empowers you.
Why? Yeah. Why would you want to think about things that disempower you anyway from doing something?
I have imposter syndrome. Really? Where did you catch it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I have that argument all the time. Yeah, Smith talks about it.
Yeah.
And, all the time. When I say something different to Smith, everyone thinks we're having an argument. I'm like, it's okay to have a different opinion to someone. I remember when he did a thing. Smith did a video on cold showers and that. And everyone's like, oh, well, Paul Mort loves cold showers. I'm like, it's all right that he doesn't like the same things as me, mate.
I invest heavily in crypto, right? He put a thing out today. Yeah. He put a thing out today, and a few of my mates sent me this saying, "Oh, Smith said this about crypto. It's bullshit." Yeah. I'm like, but that's Smith's opinion. He's allowed his opinion. I have a different opinion. And it's proven in the financials of my opinion, so it doesn't matter what the fuck. I don't care. I don't care. He'll probably.
And sometimes this is how we learn.
Yeah, for sure.
This is how. And one thing that I've had to get good at, and this is certainly the case since about 2016 onwards, was before I'd be like, it's my way or the highway. My way is the way.
Yeah.
Now I'm willing to be wrong.
Yeah.
In the past, mate, I see this. I was on James Haskell's podcast a while ago. And he hasn't released it yet. But we spoke about this, and I said, most of the things that I do with my life right now, back in 2014, 2015, even 2016, I would have laughed at. I'd have mocked meditation. I would have mocked even jiu-jitsu. Cuddling your friends with pajamas on. What's that about, mate? Yeah. Wearing really tight clothes and rolling around the floor with a man.
Yeah.
That's gay. Yeah, you know what I mean? That would have been me back
then. Perception.
I'd have mocked cold showers. I'd have mocked that. I would have mocked journaling. I would have mocked what? Dear Diary. It's not for me. Do you know what I mean? I'd have mocked all of that stuff as hippie shit. I'd have mocked a lot of it as, you're hardcore because you have a cold shower. But one of the things that I've had to expand with is, you know what? I'm willing to be wrong. If I can find a better way, I'm fucking all for it. If I can find a better way than what I'm doing now, I'm all for it. You get people taking the piss saying email doesn't work. Yeah. I've got 4 million reasons why it doesn't. Why it does work, sorry. Email doesn't work. It's old school. I'm like, I better send all this fucking money back then, eh?
Yeah, because this is what I tell people about. I always bring you up as a kind of reference point, because a lot of people talk about social media and talk about how much money there is in social media, talk about Google ads, Facebook ads, all this shit. Yeah,
there is if you're good at it.
And there is money in everything. But what I'm saying is people forget how much money is in email. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't send enough email, or I still haven't executed half the shit that you told me to do, right? And a lot of people don't, right? A lot of people don't. But one thing I will say is the fact that I know from you that when you had like pretty much like zero social media, you was making millions and millions of pounds from email. Can you just explain to people how big email is and kind of give them a bit of a punch in the face with this email thing?
Here's some context.
Yeah, give us some context. Yeah.
So the one, I would estimate I've made about 4 million quid from email. Estimate.
Yeah.
There's one. Two,
and that's pounds, not fucking dollars.
A pound, which is about fucking $300 million.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, and there's just that, right? But here's to put it in a more, because everyone can talk about, oh, well, that's the past. I'm like, well, here's some more context for you.
Yeah.
And this is not, well, it is bragging in a way, because that's what we're doing here. We're trying to show people how email works. I don't know a great internet marketer who doesn't send emails. Yeah. Great internet marketer. The only people I don't like who say that email doesn't work are people that are shit at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People that are shit. Nothing works if you shit at it. Right? So here's the truth. Right now, that's where I was. That's why I was a couple of minutes late. Right now, I was just doing a Q&A for people inside of my Unstoppable 28 program. My Unstoppable 28 program is 180 quid. Right?
Cheap.
This month, I've got 177 people on it. Without any webinars, without really any social media posts, without any sales calls, and without any free challenges. I've got that many people on just via email.
Did you send them a 9-word email?
I send the 9-word email that I send is I've sent one that said, I'm opening up a new program. Would you like to join us? That's it. So, and by the way, this is without any kind of, do you have a campaign? I'm like, well, not really. I just send emails every day. When I've got a program coming up, I just increase the urgency a little bit. I change the context a little bit. We've got this coming up. It's closing. That's it really. Like, that's an example. If you don't believe me, search for the Facebook group Unstoppable 28 15.0. Don't try and join it because I won't let you in. But that's my program. You can actually physically see how many people are in my program. And that's just because of email. I may have had a couple of ads up as well, but I'd say 95% of it was email. That's how powerful email is.
Yeah. I'm
not saying, by the way, I'm not saying it's the only way, but here's some context as well. I'm sure they'll love it that I'm talking about them. In about March time, I was on Google and I was searching for an old article that I'd written years ago. I couldn't find it anywhere on my computer. I'd wrote it years ago. It was actually a one for PTs and gym owners, how to get more clients or something.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it because I'd killed the website. Anyway, I ended up stumbling across a forum, an old school forum called Tattle, right? It's basically where losers talk shit about other people, right?
Yeah.
And I'd found people talking about me and I was okay with it. But they were saying, like, what's your opinion on Paul Mort? And people were saying, I hate his accent. He's egotistical. He's all this. And one of them said, well, they all say that they were basically talking about other influencers saying that I was amazing. But with only a small Instagram following, I disagree. And I'm like, how the fuck has my Instagram following got anything to do
with how much money you make? Yeah.
I remember when I spoke at IFS in 2019, I had 2,000 followers on Instagram, but I was doing 50 bags a month on Stripe. Like I had to show my Stripe account, my monthly subscriptions versus my Instagram following, because even then, this event was an influencers event. IFS it was.
Yep.
And I was basically like, I had a little bit of that whole imposter syndrome. I was like, I've got to show these people why I'm here. I've got to demonstrate that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And unfortunately, people link that to that.
Instagram does give you a hell of a lot of credibility in today's society.
Oh, totally, mate. Totally, mate. For some things, like for example, when I am looking at podcast guests, I'm looking at people with a big following. Of course I am. So I'm going to leverage their audience.
That's why I never got the call.
When I did my book deal with HarperCollins, right?
Yeah.
I did my book deal with HarperCollins. and I'm looking at some of the other people in my sector, so non-fiction, who they've got. They've got Ross Edgley, James Smith, Ant Middleton, Piers Morgan, Jay Shetty, James Haskell. They've got all these people, and then they've got me. I've got no doubt about it. When they are doing that, they're looking at how many followers they got. Why? For most of them, there's guaranteed sales.
Yeah.
For me, there was no guaranteed sales with my poxy following. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And even my friends that run big speaking events, they're looking at how many followers people have got. It's not going to matter how good a speaker you are, because all they care about is whether you can help fill the room.
But do they ask you how big your email list is as well?
21,000.
No, but no, I know that. But do they ask?
Do they?
Do they? Yeah.
Not really, because you kind of actually, when we worked with HarperCollins, we did show them the size of our email list because we're trying to get a deal over the line.
Yeah.
And I've got my email list responsive as well. Yeah, clearly.
This is what people don't understand, Paul. Right? 21,000 people on email that open your emails every day is way more engaged than 21,000 followers on Instagram.
Well, you think about this. This is an interesting thing to think about with email. Somebody giving you their personal email address is actually quite a big commitment. It's a little micro commitment. It's certainly more of a commitment than hitting like. Here's what I also know. Someone joins my email list. One thing I know for a fact, they have raised their hand and said, I have the problem that you are talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they follow you on Facebook or Instagram, they might just like to look at you with your top off.
Yeah.
They might just like to look at your ass.
Yeah.
In fact, I've seen this. I shared something. When I spoke at that event, there was a girl with like 1 million followers. And she couldn't sell T-shirts.
Fucking hell.
That's why influencers have fucking shitty discounts for protein shakes and end up selling fucking ketones and that. Because the following is fucking irrelevant.
Yeah, I know. And there's so many of them. In fact, I know a few girls that make good money. They make good money on Instagram. They've got like 400, 500, 600, 700. Some of them 1 million followers. But
what happens if they want a week off?
Yeah, this is the problem. They don't know this stuff. They need to know what you're teaching, and what you.
Here's what's even better. What happens if Instagram bans their account?
Yeah, this is what I've seen as well. I saw a girl who made all her money from OnlyFans, but her OnlyFans leads weren't on her email list. They were coming straight from Instagram. So as soon as she got her account banned with 200,000 followers, that just fucks this revenue stream over here with this OnlyFans account. So it's like
building your house on someone else's land.
Yeah.
The person who owns the land can take it away from you at any moment in time. Again, I don't think that's not likely to happen, but I've seen it happen. I've seen Facebook accounts get shut down. A friend of mine, Dan, he has a thing called, he has a big Facebook group. He has a big following in a Facebook group. Guess what? He got banned from Facebook for 30 days. How much money do you think he made? None.
Yeah.
Got banned. They can shut you down like that. Email list, guess what? It's my property. No one can take that away from me. It's my property. I own it. Those people have given me their email addresses legally. I own it. Facebook, tara. Instagram, bye.
Yeah. And basically at the end of the day, when you want to just hang your gloves up on all socials and just go off grid, you can just go off grid with your laptop. Even a 20.
You can get. I suppose. I just had 9 days off everything. Right. Yeah. I was fucked. I had 9 days of everything, but 9 emails went out. That was the week that my program shut down. My team sent emails that I'd written previously. My team posted on social media. But for most people, they don't have that team to post on social media for them.
Yeah.
But those emails, I could have plugged them in myself 9 days in advance. And we still got 177 deals over the line.
Yes, it is amazing. Like,
you need both. For me, you need both. I'm not just saying just do email, but just doing social. It's not huge.
Okay, then break it down then. How anybody, any individual or business brand or whoever's listening to this podcast, how can they take their following and put them onto an email list the fastest way? Like
give them a reason.
Give them a reason.
Give people that follow you something that's valuable to them in exchange for their email address. For me, it might be, I've got a short audio book called How to End Self Sabotage. It's 2 hours long. I'll give you that if you join my email list. I've got a paperback book that's self-published. That's £8. Give me £8. Give me your email address. I've got loads of free reports. You can come on a webinar. You can come on a video series. We'll do a competition sometimes. But yeah, in fact, with my audiobook, Paul Mort Will Save Your Life, one thing I do with that is because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get people's email addresses because it's on Audible. So what I say in the book is, if you want a printout and a template for these questions that I'm telling you about, go to my website and download it. All you have to do is give me your email address.
Yeah, nice.
So give me a reason that has perceived value to me, i.e., it may help me solve a problem or make me feel a certain way. You give me that, I'll give you my email address.
Let's run a few scenarios because I want to get your scenarios. There's going to be women that listen to this that just post bikini pics on Instagram, have 1 million followers. What's her value add to get emails on her list?
Well, it depends what problem she solves for people. It could be pictures. It could be how I got in shape.
Yeah.
For free. I'll show you how I do it every day.
Yeah.
I'll give you this. I'll give you some audio. I'll give you something that solves why are you following me? I'm looking at that first. Why are they following me?
Yeah.
And then I'm giving them something that's a value add on top of what they get from my Instagram.
Have you ever considered like building these Telegram lists as well? Like in terms of like where people swipe up, get on your Telegram, and you can just broadcast to people through Telegram as well. Are you seeing that lately?
I don't know anything about that. However, we do use text message marketing all of the time.
Yeah. And are you seeing a big ROI with that?
Example, if someone buys something from me, I get the telephone number. If I have a webinar coming up that I want them to come on, or have a program that's starting, we'll send out a text that says, got a new program starting on Monday, deadline's tonight, click here. That costs more money.
Yeah.
It has a 100% open rate.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad.
We use that quite a lot. We just don't overuse it.
So, and also, I just want to give people a bit of context around this as well. It's like, in your opinion, how big an email list do they need to start to see some sales in terms of what they're doing? Would you estimate?
Depends on what you're selling. If you got 1,000 people on your email list, but what you sell is high end, it's fine. Few hundred's fine.
Yeah.
It's not the size of the list. That's like saying how big does me dick have to be to make a girl have an orgasm.
This is why I love you.
The bigger it is, and you know, often it's not the bigger it is, the better. My email list is about the same size as Darren's.
Yeah.
Which is mad. But yeah, it depends on what you do with it. But listen, Smith took 6 months to make his first sale.
Yeah.
I still remember him sending an email saying, I've just made a sale after 6 months. It was in 2014 though, so I just fucking ignored him because I was a shithouse then.
it's mad because I went to his event in Sydney a few weeks back, and he was saying his email list is like 270,000 now.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal business.
Imagine if he sent a 9-word email.
I know. Literally, like people think that James makes his money from Instagram and this, that, and the other. Like his email list dominates everything, like every revenue stream. 100%.
It's because it's a more private conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
More private conversation.
And honestly, like this is what I wanted you to drop that on this podcast today, because I really want people to understand how powerful email is. And obviously, one of the big things that you've really dominated with, especially when you had the supplement company, right? When you had the supplement company way back, you built a £2 million supplement company off the back of email as well, didn't you?
Yeah. And it'll be worth more than that now, I think. Yeah. So I sent daily emails for that company. I don't even know what they do now. It's called leangreens.com. Yeah. I think they're doing a lot on Amazon now.
Yeah.
Which would make sense because you don't have to hold stock on Amazon. You send it to them. I've got another company that does that, a massage gun company that I own. Most people don't even know this. I don't do any email with this company. We just do Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon. It's called FBA.
Yeah.
It's not my main business, but we do all right out of massage guns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did it with Lean Greens. I don't know a business that wouldn't benefit from email marketing. But maybe not daily. Not daily, but I don't know a business that wouldn't benefit from it. In fact, I did a training for the guys in my program the other week about email, getting started with autoresponder sequences.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is sometimes I'll show them some stats. Like if you Google email marketing statistics, you'll start emailing people.
It's $44 per person you have on your list, isn't it?
Something mad. Yeah, there's some amazing stats on it. But essentially, I see it as permission-based marketing. People don't go on Instagram to be sold to.
Yeah.
They'll often open your emails because they know you're going to sell. But I mean, I see it as permission-based marketing. You give my email address, and now I have permission. You've given me permission to message you and maybe make you some offers. That's it.
And just to clarify as well, because I've been in a few of my mates own gyms, and I tell them that they should be emailing every day, right? And I always get pushback from these people like, Frankie, we can't email every day. It's too much. We just
would
do
you
once
only
a week.
post on social media once a day every day? Would you fuck? Would you only post on social media 3 times a week? Would you fuck? Would you only post on social media once a week? Would you fuck? So why would it be any different for email?
Yeah. You should literally email every day, shouldn't you? That's what you always said.
I have never seen a result of less sales by sending more emails. I've never seen that happen.
I love how simple you make it.
Every time I send an email, I increase my chances of making a sale. Yes, I increase my chances of having someone unsubscribe, but they were never going to buy anyway. Do you worry about people unfollowing you when you post on social media? Not really. You would never worry about, I better not post too much in case people don't follow me. Most of people's problem is that they're like, how can I post more? Why the fuck would it be any different for email? They've asked for you to email them.
So email them.
Yeah.
Mate, honestly, and that's
the thing that I love about email, mate, is that most people are giving up on it and they think it doesn't work, which leaves more room for me. And the people that can be bothered to email. People's biggest problem is they don't know what the fuck to write about. That's the real problem.
Honestly, when I did your email domination course, I got a lot from it that I still retain as information today. And I started emailing my small list. I only had like 200-300 people at the time for content removal. Yeah. The problem I found was because content removal to me is like a cash flow business that I help people so that I can generate revenue.
It's boring.
It's boring. I'm like after day 5, I'm running out of things to email about.
What you got to do is you got to not talk about the thing.
Yeah.
You got to tell stories.
Yeah. And
but just tell stories.
And there's only so many stories you can tell about removing famous people's nudes. There
is. I mean, I'm almost saying, you got to think about this. I'm sending emails about email marketing for years. Email about email.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you can say, I'm kind of saying the same. The content is the same. It's just the context is different.
Just explain as well because obviously the reason why James is so successful and the reason why you've been so successful and Darren's been so successful with email marketing is because you'll send something like with a subject line of I stepped in shit today and then it got better or something like that, or James's best email he ever sent was when he got charged he got fucked on the laundry bill in LA. Do you know what I mean?
It's got nothing to do with losing weight.
Yeah. He just puts PS. He just puts PS at the bottom. If you enjoyed this email about me getting fucked on my laundry and you want to help me pay for it, sign up to jamesmithacademy.com.
That's what I mean. People want to be entertained, or we call it. And Smith probably talked about this in his seminar when he probably stole it off me. Infotainment. They want information. They want to be informed, but they want to be entertained more than anything.
Yeah.
Why the fuck else are you on social media other than to be entertained?
Yeah.
Same with email. Give me some entertainment. Give me a little bit of information. And I'm always like, how can I make someone's day better? How can I make this the best email that they read today? How can I be the best part of somebody's day?
Yeah. And if
I don't email them, guess what? I can't.
And because obviously this is like a business and personal development type podcast that I'm running here, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted you to drop this today was because a lot of people that I've had on the podcast before talk about e-com. We're talking about fashion brands. We're talking about building brand, all this stuff that I think that some people are a little bit too far away from ever getting to right now. But everyone's got a social media account. Everybody can grab emails. Everyone could build a list and service and offer to a list with an email account.
Never been easier.
So I just thought to myself, do you know what? Mort's got to talk about this because it's just revolutionized the way the game's played. Because it's never
been easier to do it.
There should be no woman or man with a few thousand followers on Instagram that should be working a job because you don't need to. Just collect emails. Simple as that.
And do you know, guess what you have to have really to open a social media account? An email address.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to have an email address.
Yeah. So everyone's got one. Just take it.
Just like people say, oh, people don't read emails anymore. I'm like, well, again, people don't read shit emails.
Yeah. And honestly,
don't read shit email. And again, what I don't worry about is like I never really worry about things like open rate. I couldn't give a fuck. I know that the more people that are on my email list and the more emails I send,
the more money,
and the less opens I'll get. Because I don't read every single email that I get. But if I send, let's just say I only send 3 emails a week. And then I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to start sending 6. I double my chances of getting my emails opened because I send more emails.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to get more pussy? Start asking more girls out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been married for 10 years. So that's not my thing, but I'm like, you want to increase your chances of getting laid? Yeah. Ask more girls.
Yeah. 100%. Do you know what? Smith uses your line on this
clearly
seminar.
It's not just that. It's not just that.
Yeah.
But if you want to get your dick sucked, ask more people to suck your dick. I say the word people in case I get in trouble.
You always know when I knew straight away when you was coming on the podcast that it was going to go like this. But let's pivot.
I'm only going to bring the dirt in.
Let's pivot onto this book because you got 8 steps. It's a bold statement in it. Paul Mort, I will save your life. It's a bold statement.
Yeah, I didn't come up with that title. So originally I wanted to call it "Bro, Get Your Shit Together." Right. My agent was like, Luke, he's like, no, he said, people don't realize they need to get their shit together.
I like that.
And then HarperCollins came at me with, we want to call it the Paul Mort method. And I'm like,
that's a bit boring.
That's super boring. But I'm not going to argue with like hundreds of millions of pounds HarperCollins generate. I mean, mate, they published Game of fucking Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about. Right? They know what they're talking about. They published Paddington Bear, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Paul Mort will change it. It will save your life is a very bold statement, but fuck it. If you want to give me the crown, I'll take it. And to be fair, mate, I was a bit scared of it. Like I was a little bit fearful. I had some self-doubt. I was like, wow, now I am putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Like that is a bold fucking claim. But fuck it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone says I'm a cunt? I'm okay with that. And my fear was, I'd self-published a book before, but I didn't put it on Amazon. So my fear was, oh, fuck, I'm going to get one. What if I get 1-star reviews? What if I get 2-star reviews? What if people say it's shit?
Yeah.
Guess what? People did. Guess what? I didn't die.
And guess what? You got paid.
I paid. I got to meet some incredible people. I'm about to do a tour on the back of it. You know what I mean? It's like,
is Luke setting you up on tour? Is Luke setting you up on tour? Betsy.
Well, we're going to do a headline event in October. We're announcing it next week, and we've called it Paul Mort Will Change Your Life. The first venue he's booked is Newcastle Theatre. It's fucking massive.
Mate,
it's the same venue that Smith's doing.
You'll fill it.
And I'm terrified.
My biggest fear
is, think about it, I have not got hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm on 29,000. I'm terrified of turning up and the room being empty and hardly anyone being there. But guess what? I'm going to go with it anyway. What's the worst thing? I'm not going to die as a result of being uncomfortable. I'm not going to die as a result of being... No one's ever really died of embarrassment. I'm cool with it. I've got the tools to deal with it. And the thing is, mate, the thing that's interesting is I did a presentation the other week about the truth about building a 7-figure business. And I said that one thing that people don't talk about is all of the fears that you have about people unsubscribing from your list. All of the fears you have about people criticizing you, people challenging you. All of the fears you have about being mocked. All the fears that you have about 1-star reviews, 2-star reviews, people talking shit. They will all come true. So, and people don't talk about this. Oh, you'll be fine. The reality is I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I showed at this talk, I brought up a slide with all of the things that people have said about me. People will start forums about you. People will talk shit about you behind your back.
100%.
So fucking get used to it. I can't have the praise without the criticism. I can't have the support without the challenge. I can't have the positive comments without the negative ones. So stop fucking pulling the wool over people's eyes. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? I can't have the wins without the losses. I can't have courage without fear. I can't have confidence without self-doubt. It all goes together.
And as soon as people understand that whether a person has a positive or negative opinion of you, either way, it doesn't fucking matter.
None of my business.
It's none of your business. All you've got to do every day is turn up and do the reps for whatever you want to do, whatever your purpose is. Turn up, do the reps. Turn up, do the reps. Exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just done.
It's the same as what we started with before. Smith hates ice baths. I love them. It's the same kind of thing. Like, nobody dies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm all right with it. Once I got my first 1-star review,
you're sweet. You're sweet.
Really? And then I was like, at least I bought my book.
Mate, at the end
At least I downloaded it.
At the end of the day, they've got to pay you a few quid just to give you a 1-star. A lot of these people, anyway.
I'm just buzzing they took the time out to buy it, to listen to it. Do you know what I mean?
They're
if
engaging.
they didn't like it, I'm okay with that.
Give people the 8 steps. So break it down on how they can save their life in that terminology. Like, in terms of,
I'll give you the first step. I'll give you the first step, and the first step is one of my favorite things in the book, and one of the most popular bits of the book is cool story, bro. And that is, everybody has this story that they're attached to about why things are different for them. And that's the thing, really, that you've got to drop. I have bipolar. I've got it's the bipolar make me act like that. What's nothing to do with the fucking sniff that you're doing every weekend, mate? It's nothing to do with all the fucking easy taking. And that was my story. Other people had stories like, oh, well, my parents split up when I was a kid. And you'll see the stories in the book. The stories in the book are fucking phenomenal. I've had guys who planned their own suicide and wanted to make it look like an accident. We've got guys that were homeless and tried to commit suicide. We've got guys that were miserable as fuck. We've got guys that were angry all the time. We've got all those stories, and all of their stories started with their story mentally about why it was different for them. Labels that they placed upon themselves, excuses, reasons. And then they just started to get more committed to the results, and they start to focus on how they wanted to feel instead of how they don't want to feel. They start getting committed to what they do want instead of what they don't want. They started taking charge of their life. So I suppose that would be the first step that I would give you, is understand that it's not really different for you. If you examined your story and looked at it, you'd be like, actually, do you know, it's bullshit that. It's the result of habitual thinking.
And literally is that people do tell themselves something over and over and over and over again, and then create this belief in their mind that thing
is the truth.
Is the truth.
A belief is not the truth.
Yeah,
a belief is usually your version of the truth.
Yeah,
but if you examined it, you could find, most people took their beliefs to court, and the court said, "Where's the evidence?"
There's no evidence.
Most people would struggle.
Mate,
most people would struggle.
Like, Paul, mate, I'm telling you now, right? All the things that I've worked so hard to fix over the last few years in my mindset and everything that's taken me forward is the fact of, 1, take fucking responsibility, and 2, go back to look at things that happened to you when you're 8, 10, 12 years old, 15 years old, and look at them with a set of 30, 32-year-old eyes and see it from both sides of the coin, and see how other people felt in that situation, to actually see.
And you've got to understand as well that the past is really
the past.
There's a fact. There's the fact that happened, the fact.
Yeah.
And then there is what you make it mean. Then there is the meaning that you attach to it. In other words,
put around it,
Even that I love, which is the past is nothing more than the present time memory of something that happened, a fact, with your imagination filling in all of the gaps, and your imagination giving it all of the meaning. So I could, again, this is a really fucking basic example. I could attach, all right, well, they left a 1-star review in my book. I could make it mean that means my book's shit. That means that they criticize me. That means they hate me. Or my imagination can go, do you know what? Thank you for buying the book. Thank you for listening to all of my book and my story. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did that. I've got 2 options, be glad or be pissed off.
Yeah.
I've got those two options. The people that were talking about me on that forum, I hate his accent. I hate the way he sniffs snot up through his nose. I'm like, mate, if you snort as much coke as I can, you've got some problems with your nose. You know what I mean? I'm like, people criticize me for the way that for my accent. What the fuck am I supposed to do about it, you daft cunt? But I'm like, do you know what I mean? I've got two options there. I can get pissed off, or I can understand that these people are just doing their best to feel significant. If I get pissed off with it, I lose.
But the reason why you're successful,
my imagination that decides that.
But the reason why you are so successful in everything you do is because you polarize people. This is what people do not do. People are not willing to polarize opinion. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I love you, right? But some people are going to fucking hate you, right? And the reason, and that's great, because the people that love you will buy from you. They'll buy your stuff. They'll be in your world. And the people that fucking hate you won't. But you want to be polarizing. Too many people. And
the thing is, you're making an interesting point. I don't even try and do that. I don't think, I'm going to go away to piss people off. I'm going to post what I think.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah.
Not everybody believes the same shit as me. Not everybody has it's like what we spoke about with the ice bath thing. I'm not going to talk about ice baths and be polarizing. I'm just going to say, listen, hey, I love ice baths. And some people are going to say, well, I hate ice baths. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing my opinion. I'm not going out my way, but I can't have, my opinion cannot be the same as everybody else's.
Yeah. And you're cool with that. And that's brilliant.
And it's going to be different to some people.
Yeah. And you and me both, like, I'm cool with people having an opinion on me as long as I know and you know who you are, it doesn't matter fuck what anyone else thinks anyway.
Oh, Paul Mort's a prick. Oh, thank you for noticing. I've been trying. Thank you for noticing. My wife would agree with you.
Mate, honestly, you know what I
mean? I'm okay. Listen, I'm okay. If it starts to get personal, like it starts to get my family or anything, that's it. And you know what, Frankie? Every so often, so someone tells me to kill myself every other day, right? Because of my videos, because of what I talk about. It's part of the cause. But every so often, I'm like, do you know what, mate? That's not okay. That's not okay.
Yeah.
You've got 2 kids on your profile picture. Guess what? I've got 2 kids, and you've just told me to kill myself. That's not okay. Imagine if your kids saw what you just posted. Yeah. That's not okay. Most of the time, I'm like, they're trying their best to feel better. Yeah. I'd rather them take it out on me than the kids. I'd rather them take their anger, their pain out on me via the internet than take it out on other people that haven't got the tools to deal with it. I've got the tools to deal with it, but every so often I'm like, man, that's not okay.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
It just shows where people are in their own life, though. If you're throwing mud at someone else or throwing hate towards someone else, then it just points back at you and you hate yourself anyway. Like that's just the truth of the matter, isn't it? That's just
your perception of me is a reflection of you, not me.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't make you perceive something like you. I'm okay. I'm all right.
Honestly, like I'm buzzed. I'm buzzed that you broke that stuff down. I know that we've got to do a short one today and keep it on time because I know you're a busy man and got stuff to do today. But just give people your socials and the websites that they can go to. I'll also link them in the podcast description so that they can obviously go to it and get your book and all that stuff.
The best place to go is, I'm doing a bit on YouTube right now, actually. We're doing a bit on YouTube with the podcast and that. So, mate, all of the same ones as normal. YouTube, Paul Mort Talks Shit. Audible, Paul Mort Will Save Your Life. Instagram, Facebook, paulmort.uk. All of those things. There's my next call. 3 minutes early, my next people. Yeah.
Mate, honestly, like, yeah. And guys.
You know what I love when people tell me, oh, Paul, I'm too busy to do this. I'm like, show me your fucking schedule and I'll show you what busy is. Most people aren't busy, they're unorganized.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll put all those links in the description. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you so much for having me on.
I really appreciate that. And guys, if you can just like, subscribe and send me and Paul a message, let us know what you got from this podcast. Really, really, really consider email. Like, email is going to revolutionize your life. That's going to revolutionize
your life.
Also
very therapeutic.
Yeah, it's also, you can write what you want, send it to your audience. But mate, thank you so much for doing this. Much love, and tune in again next week, guys.
My pleasure.
Mr. Mort.